Hello, my name is John Reynolds. Welcome to Extraordinary Life Stories. On this episode, I'm talking with TV personality, author and entrepreneur Tanya Bardsley. Tanya is best known for her role on the hit reality TV show, The Real Housewives of Cheshire. With a background in modelling and a successful transition into business, Tanya has launched her own lineup of self-help books and a jewellery brand, Dreams to Reality. As an advocate for mental health, she openly shares her journey with ADHD and anxiety, inspiring many with her candidness and resilience. I'm really looking forward to talking with Tanya, so let's get into it. Tanya, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me, who is Tanya Bardsley?
Well, right now, Tanya is a mum and a wife. I think, but really, a scared little girl.
Bless you.
Yeah, just trying to navigate the world and winging it, really. Yeah.
You are winging it. You're winging it with style. What influenced you early in your years of kind of career decision making to form a career?
Well, I was a cleaner, £2.75 an hour. Then I was working in a call centre and I became a single mom. And I don't know, I've never thought I wanted to be a model, but I saw an advert in News of the World to try and find the first non-celebrity to be on the front cover of FHM, and I was like, I want to do that because Kelly Brook was on the advert. So it was all my career decisions are impulsive, which now I know I've got ADHD, it all makes sense, but everything's very impulsive. But I visualised from going from cleaner and single mum with no money to getting my dream life through. I saw an article on the power of positive thinking and law of attraction. So I studied that, like now I know, hyper focus.
Yeah. Studied as in what, reading up on it? And
reading up on it, anything, because there was the secret and everything wasn't out there. So anyway, I became the first non-celebrity to be on the front cover of FHM out of 6,000 girls, just like a little hobbit girl from average looking from North Yorkshire, living in North Yorkshire. And I outsold their biggest selling J-Lo cover. So then I was traveling the world, modeling, and that's when my husband saw me on the front cover of FHM. So it was really one picture, one impulsive, I want to do that. And one picture changed my life, sort of rags to riches, really.
That's brilliant, because what I love about that is modelling could be seen as just putting on some clothes and having pictures taken.
Taking off clothes.
Yes, true. But,
yeah, I had a bikini on and stuff.
But ultimately, it's actually influenced a career, influenced a relationship, which becomes kids and so on. So that was never planned.
No,
it was never.
No, all impulsive, yeah.
And
because there was no social media or anything then to say, oh, I want that life, I want this life, and so.
Having had this basically shot to stardom, and you weren't necessarily thinking about that, again, the impulsive side, there must have been suddenly this whole moment where people recognise you in the street, pointing at you and saying, how did you deal with that?
It was that much airbrushed.
I love that. I love your honesty.
Yeah. So not really, but...
you know what I mean, though? You're suddenly, you've gone from a cleaner.
In my hometown, yeah, especially, yeah.
I get it, but there's a lot to deal with there.
Yeah.
Right, and also that element of that sort of side of the career, if you like, can be a high pressure, that you're sort of almost being used as a mule. How did you keep your identity and actually take control of your own destiny to then get into what became reality TV? When I got with Phil and I had Rocco, I wanted to, obviously career change because the boobs just like, I wanted to help people get their dream life like I had. So I worked to become a life coach, and I wrote a book, which was a massive thing for me because I wrote it myself, and I have struggled with dyslexia all my life, but I did it. I mean, it's not like Einstein's wrote it or anything, and a lot of people... From the heart, though.
Yeah, and it became #1 bestseller on Amazon. I mean, there was people had to put commas in, full stops, and capitals.
That's not writing,
just
though.
all... So so I did that, and then I made jewellery, which comes with instructions on how to manifest. So you write it down, and then because life gets in the way, doesn't it, of thinking positive and visualising your dream, because you just meet even your kids, just like negative people. Yeah. So it's just like when you see that, like, oh yes, like to keep gratitude and keep thinking, visualizing my dream. So then when I had the book and I had this, I thought I need somehow to get it out there. So I put on my vision board, I want to have and be on a #1 hit rating TV show. 6 weeks later, Real Housewives of Cheshire wanted a meeting, and yeah.
You've got a history of basically setting yourself
hyper focusing on it,
and then just yeah. So that's manifestation.
And with no doubt, it's going to happen.
Yeah. You mentioned vision board. That really interests me. Have you always done that? Were you doing it consciously, like writing things down or cutting things out?
Cutting things out. So my mum and dad actually thought. I remember them coming in, and I remember mum going, Steve, like this. And they were going, oh, like, and I could hear them just like, I think she's a serial killer, Steve. Wow, well, she's lost the plot. But on that vision board, I had like a mansion. It's just me and Gabriella, and I had cut a man out of the Freeman's catalogue and put a question mark on his head. And then I cut a baby out of John, just the closest baby I could find out of Johnson's baby wipes. And this baby had the whitest skin and these big blue eyes. And it's Rocco. He cannot catch a tan, and he's got the biggest blue grey eyes. And he's beautiful, but yeah, he can't get a tan. And I mean, I'm quite tanned.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
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 So this whole manifesting and vision board.
Oh, and the mansion, we had exactly the same mansion.
Wow.
We rented it, but it doesn't matter. It's only because we were in Sunderland.
So what are you manifesting now?
Right now I'm just manifesting, actually a few things.
Can you tell me?
I can tell you, yeah. So a podcast.
Tell me what you can tell me.
Yeah, so they're all actually happening right now. So there's a TV show, a podcast, and basically ending the waiting list for ADHD.
We were talking about this before the camera.
Yeah.
I think that's so needed.
Yeah.
That's in my world.
There's a little thing called Cubby, which is I want to get in every school, every stadium, every shopping centre, because like shopping centres for neurodiverse, they will turn the music down and the lights down on a Tuesday afternoon. Well, what about the rest of the time? So Cubbies are like a little sensory hub. They look a bit like photo booths. So loads of times, Rocco would be kicking off in the stadium or something. I didn't know he had ADHD, but he was overwhelmed, like the noises, the sounds. If I could have had one of them, and just because people are looking at you when you've got your neurodiverse kids kicking and screaming, if I could have just loved him in there, and you can choose which setting you want, and it's just it will regulate your nervous system within 15 minutes max.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's needed now.
It's needed now. So I just feel like they have. For physical disabilities, they have ramps and everything like that. They don't have that for neurodiverse. I can't go to certain things because I know I'm just going to be overwhelmed. I went to Wembley. Oh my God, I was like the human traffic lights, and so if I could have just gone in there into a cubby and just like. Yeah.
It's crazy because you're clearly not alone, right? There's people that don't even go out. At least you went, right? You went to Wembley. There's people that won't leave because and there's no route for them to actually be able to experience things. It's just like it cater for the masses. And your journey with ADHD, right? When did you sort of ultimately choose to get diagnosed, and how life transforming for you was that? Because I know it's a massive part of your journey.
Well, I've just always had really like bad chronic anxiety. That's what I thought it was. Now I know it's so girls, their hyperactivity is internal, so it's that knotted feeling, like something bad's going to happen and whirling. So that's why a lot of girls get mixed diagnosed, because we're not like, my boys are just running around with a bin on their head or just like lobbing something. So they're a problem to teachers. They get diagnosed. Girls are just like away with the fairies, but we've got this inside. You can't see it. I've been to the doctors like all my life, and they just kept giving me antidepressant after antidepressant for when I was explaining my symptoms, and like I didn't feel like I belonged. I've never felt like I belonged in this world, and I always thought, why is everyone finding life so easy? And it's like I just felt like I was an alien. But I don't think I told the doctors that. It's just about the anxiety and depression. And
did you talk to anyone else about it? Sorry to interrupt you, but like, did you talk to Phil, your husband? Did you talk to friends?
This is like from younger, before that.
Oh, so you've gone back. So you were recognising. I thought it was more of a more recent kind of thing.
So all of that. So they just kept saying, go back to the doctors, change your tablets, they're not suiting you. Which really, it's like giving me a flu tablet for sickness, like, and it just didn't work.
No.
So how I got diagnosed is I went to see a psychiatrist who specialises in anxiety, and we had an hour long consultation, and he said at the end, I don't think you've got anxiety. I think 99.99% you've got undiagnosed ADHD. And I said, what? Because I've not really heard of many women with ADHD. I thought boys had it, and I always thought that they grew out of it. So anyway, when I went home and told my mum and Phil, they looked at each other like, because I thought my mum was going to say, cheeky get, there's nothing wrong with you. And she went, I've always known there was something. So what? She was like, anyway, I said, it's hereditary, Mum. It's not from me, it's from your dad's side.
Blame the mum.
It's from your dad's side. After a few weeks, when I finally got diagnosed, that's how my son got diagnosed, because he was a nightmare. But everyone in the family was going, it's just like you. It's just like you. It gets it from you. So yeah, it was good, because it was like, I'm not alone. And then you see a whole tribe, community of...
And things made sense?
Oh, my people. Yeah. And I felt like I do belong. And it's not even about getting pills. It's like skills, or just realising, okay, yeah, I'm overwhelmed, just take myself off, rather than standing there and just like, ah!
Well, being able, if you've got an understanding of it and advice on how to deal with these situations and so on, you're so much further forward than and taking all the wrong stuff. I mean, how many people are misdiagnosed?
I've been in psychosis so many times, just from GPs, from the wrong medication. So many times. I've had breakdown, I've fainted, I've been sick, I've been just being pumped with the wrong drugs from the doctors.
And you'll know the answer to this because of the journey you've been on, but how many other people are in this position, right? Is it huge?
It's massive. I reckon it's about 40% of women. I really do. I think it's that big.
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
How can people help then, right? So what you just said is huge. 1 in 4, women taking their own lives from the pain of this and the lack of support. That's massive.
It's
so
massive.
have you got any way that people can reach out and support you? And what's the mission?
Well, the mission at the minute, I'm just going to politicians and things like that, because I've actually got an idea on how to sort of blanket test people. So when people do their, because a lot of the questions and things can be done online or in a group setting. So there's a 10-year waiting list in some areas. When you driving theory tests, or you can just do it in that. So it'll just like half the people. A 10-year waiting list when 1 in 4 complete suicide. It's not good enough.
I mean, you're out the other side of clearly some really tough times for you to have 3 times tried to take your own life. Right now there is, with no arrogance at all, there's a contentment to you. The frustrations of this situation is obviously going to flare up. But what are you doing that works for you to manage your kind of mental fitness right now?
So I have to have structure. I have to have routine. Otherwise, I have chaos. So I wake up. I have my earphones there. I put it in and I meditate. I start that way. Everything that everyone knows to do, but I have to do it. Otherwise, I have chaos. So I stopped alcohol. I have to meditate, cold showers. I have to exercise. I hate exercising, but I have to. Affirmations. And it's learning skills as well as taking pills, because the pills do help. But when I first got diagnosed, I was like, oh, great, this is just going to fix everything. But my lifestyle was chaos. I was not sleeping because I was working, I was out, I was drinking, and you can't drop, these tablets are so strong. And if you drop that on a toxic life where you're stressed, you're drinking too much, you're smoking, I would just like have a diazepam. I didn't realise how bad they were. I was just like, oh, I'm tired, I'll have a diazepam tonight.
You're just constantly facing forward, and
it was just a chemical imbalance, and I was just a walking toxic.
Yeah, but without the education side of things to know that you even had ADHD.
Yeah.
I imagine there was a big part of the drinking that was stifling that and trying to escape, if you like.
Yeah.
How easy was it to stop the drinking? Because once you've been diagnosed and you've got things that work for you, you keep physically fit, you've got this sort of routine, you've got coping mechanisms, if you like.
Well, my head's so noisy and everything. That was the only thing I looked forward to, because it was like, so giving that up So I said to Phil on Christmas Day, 2022, I said, so not long ago.
No.
But that's because I didn't realise I had perimenopause, which makes ADHD worse, but we'll come to that. I said to Phil, I was looking for ways to kill myself on Christmas Day, and the kids were there. And if those kids hadn't been there, because the other times I was younger without kids when I tried, and I looked at the faces and I said, I can't. So it was two minds, and I said to Phil, I'm going to end up in a box, so help me. I don't know why I'm crying.
At least you called out for help, though, right?
Yeah, because I saw their faces.
It's hard going back to that, right? Christmas Day with your kids and having those thoughts.
Because they're
right?
so
it's
amazing.
Supposed to be a happy day. Yeah.
The luckiest woman in the world.
Did that thought, having that environment, and did that actually almost help talk you out of it? Was there a bit of a kind of, right, this stops now?
I knew I wasn't being talked out of it. I was going to do it anyway. So that's why I had to just say, I'm going. Just get me.
Right. I mean, I think it's obviously a big deal for Phil, right? Did he feel that? Do you think he kind of was on that page where, like, okay.
Yeah, he's amazing, and my kids are amazing. And then, so the guilt, I felt like, why would I want to leave? He's perfect. But nothing is just a black cloud. And when you're there, nothing, and you just feel like you're holding them back because you're just just such a mess. So when I got to Thailand, all the other inmates, as you like, were calling me a fake addict because I only drank at weekends. Part-timer, yeah. It was like, you're not a proper addict. But when you get there, they search you. And I was like, I'm fine. So they took my razors. They took my mouthwash. I was like, my mouthwash? It's like, yeah, people drink it. I was like, they took my perfume. I was like, I need my perfume. I'm not going to drink my perfume.
So you were stripped.
I was like, what's going on? And then they was like, what are these? And I was like, oh, don't take those. I need those tonight, my sleeping tablets. And they was like, these are benzos. They're benzos. I was like, benzo. It's like diazepam. They was like, they are the worst thing you can. And I was taking them willy-nilly on top of my antidepressants and the ADHD tablets. So I was a toxic bomb. So it wasn't that I was an alcoholic. It was just that, well, the things I was doing to make me feel better on a daily basis, which a lot of people just don't know.
No.
Like the sleeping tablets, because they help you sleep, but little by little by little by little, they are sending you into a deep depression. And you see it a lot now with footballers. They have the sleeping tablets and they don't realise because it makes them feel good and they've slept, but just gradually.
Just putting them down.
Life.
Yeah, gosh, it's a big deal. I'm sorry that I took you into such an emotional place.
I'm sorry, and I've spoken about it since. I don't know why.
No. Well, you probably lived it. You went there, right? But I mean, to elevate out of that, you've had an incredibly successful career. You are a successful business lady, entrepreneur. Sitting here now with perspective and maturity, what is your definition of success?
Peace, inner peace,
which
I fight for every day. As soon as I wake up, I meditate and I call it sensory cocooning, which is another a skill that you need to learn for ADHD. So I've got earplugs, I've got an eye mask, and if I'm at home, I'll go into my bedroom and I'll just sit and you just listen to yourself breathing. You can do box breathing, so it's in for 4. Hold for 4 out, yeah, and just do that. And when you've got earplugs in, you can really hear. So you're connected to your inner self, and that is the biggest thing. And that's why I'm fighting so much for cubbies, because it's just a space you can go to. It's just about regulating your emotions, because. And also, every single day, I have to train my brain. You know, like I have to train my bum, because it'll go saggy. I have to train my brain every day. A lot of people don't realise that. They think, oh, well, I read that book, I've been on that course, so I can just go about. You can't just go to the gym. Even if you did 6 weeks in the gym and then you don't go again, your ass is going to go floppy, just like your brain's going to go floppy.
I love that. That's why I call it mental fitness.
Yeah.
But keep seeking it. It's a growth
every single
mindset,
day.
Right?
Yeah. And if I don't just like pour positivity constantly on it, it's just going to grow. Then the nastiness,
because you've got so much passion when you talk, right? So you've got that energy, but there's purpose that's with it, right? So would you say, sitting here now, your purpose is to helps in some way solve this crisis, this ADHD, because of how close it's come to literally, you not being sat here, and how many other people are suffering.
Yeah.
You know, how important is having purpose?
Oh, I think it's everything. I think purpose is everything. And so I got in Housewives, and I wrote the book, and I did my jewelry and everything. And then I was just started filming the Housewives, and because I'd achieved my purpose, I got my message out to people, and loads of people have read it. And then I just started doing the lunches and everything like that. And slowly I stopped doing everything that I said in the book, started drinking more. And that led to a breakdown because I had no purpose. So and I think God sent me that breakdown and the perimenopause and everything so that's reignited my purpose. And I wake up every single day like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's so evident to me that the people that, like, use the example of retirement, you know, if you've had, you know, emotional fulfillment and challenges through your career, through work, and then you just stop, you're effectively dying.
Yeah.
And then if you've got something you feel passionate about, and dare I say, can see there's a problem that needs solving, and I'm really relating that to you now.
Yeah.
You know, and I how can someone help? How can someone influence, you know, this whole crisis with ADHD? You know, and also what can someone doing in the capacity of a mother? Because this is where you're saying it starts so young and those early signs. You know, is there a 5-10 year waiting list for this? Is there a way of beating that?
Yeah, so there's something called right to choose. So if you go to your area and there's a 10-year waiting list, or 5 or 7 or even 2, say I want my right to choose, as on the NHS. And so say if you're like in Cheshire, there's a 10-year waiting list, and there's Coventry, I've got like a year. A year is still a long time, especially for a mum with, I found ADHD, puberty, turns it up, perimenopause, that's when I wanted to. When I look at all the key times I tried to take my own life, it was when you're going through hormonal changes.
So that in itself is such a valuable thing for people to hear and listen to, whether they're around someone or because they were your triggers.
Yeah.
They were your...
So the impulsive or I'm just going to drink, it's absolute car crash tackle. And I never realised, I'd never heard of it until I went through it, ADHD being, because it's still, no one really knows.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, I've been through it.
And I'll tell you something as well, but there's so much you've had to battle with. You've had to battle with yourself more than anyone else in your life.
Myself has tried to bring me down.
If you could have a microphone in your head and you heard probably how you talked about yourself. I
bully myself so bad, and that's why I have to every morning. I have to tell myself I'm good, because otherwise this little voice will just take me down.
And you're working on that now, right? But it hasn't stopped you doing all sorts of things that you've manifested and actually then just made it happen, you know, beating 6,000 girls to the front page and so on. But that inner confidence, is that something you've always had? Is, you know, because you've obviously been able to overcome that voice, right? And you're sitting here now.
It's a hyper focus. When I get hyper focused on something, then I'm going to make it happen.
So it's actually a superpower.
It's a massive superpower.
I know it comes
but if you can direct it properly, because I've had hyper focus on bullying myself. So I've been focused on what a bad person I am, and I'm no good to anyone, to the point where I've tried to take my own life. So it's a superpower if you know you've got ADHD. So sometimes I can, like, it was only after everything that I'm spouting out here, it's only a few months ago, I was hyper-focusing on my new menopause body. I'm getting back fat, I'm getting a buffalo hump, and I was...
So that voice again.
It was after a few weeks, and I thought, stop it, I'm hyper-focusing on... I was manifesting it. This was getting bigger. I was calling myself a fat cow, and every time I was like, of course I'm going to get fatter. So then luckily, even though I knew the skills, I was like, stop. And you have to just keep stopping it. And just redirecting. Yeah.
It's so valuable. I mean, I've learned so much just from talking to you now, right? You are an inspiration, and you are coming from a lived experience. You know, you've poured your heart out, you put so much emotion into explaining just how your own journey's been and how much you're having to do to fight it, but in the nicest possible way. You know, anything I've ever achieved and sort of, you know, had to go through pain or trauma to be a better person for myself, sitting here now, you know, do you recognise that? You know, that person that's beaten the hell out of yourself.
Yeah.
But you're here, you're present, brought yourself down from Manchester to film in London today and so on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you able to pat yourself on the back with that, is what I'm really saying? Because, you know, there's the tough times have shaped you. You know, you've been to rehab, you've had so many experiences, but you are a resilient girl, right? You're super strong. You have that superpower, which you're channeling in the right direction now, which would have been inspiring others and potentially implementing change. Do you recognise that?
I don't think I really do. I think my main goal is I don't want any little girl to feel like I did back then.
Yeah, I totally get it. What a alignment. And I've got 2 daughters, 13, 14, right? I want them to be able to follow their passion and be themselves. And, you are totally shooting from the hip about the things that haven't been good for you, haven't been a good experience, and you don't want anyone else to have that. It's just so inspiring.
Yeah.
You're awesome to talk to, Tanya. And
thank you.
I want to help you in any way with this mission. The whole thing with ADHD clearly is broken. It needs reform. It needs change. So you need to be lobbying this government. Yeah. Hopefully they'll stick around.
Well, when you find out they keep changing, I've just got one. Right? Oh no.
But no, we'll have anything that anyone can do to help you. It's crisis, right? Needs help. Yeah. But thank you so much for talking to me, Tanya.
Thank you.
You're awesome.